Okay.
No problem.
Okay, so you've had a problem with who?
Basically, I've come across a male. I don't know his name. He's presented himself as called Minister Emerson.
Yeah.
He's basically driving around in a vehicle that has no valid insurance, that we believe, and the vehicle wasn't registered on our systems, on the police constabulary systems. It was registration ULCT 944, if I recall. We brought him through to custody because obviously there's a legal requirement to provide a police officer with details in terms of name, address and date of birth, etc., just so that we can establish that there's no offences in terms of driving without insurance or licence and things. And this male's quite adamant that he's not providing us with any further details other than the documentation that he has provided, which has brought me to a bit of a predicament now, because we're currently in a situation where we're obviously stuck with regards to who this chap is. I've just had a look on Google in relation to the Universal Law Community Trust, which is something that's very new to myself, and all the documentation that he provided me had this is on the letterhead, if you will. And I'm just wondering, really, are you guys aware of who this male might be, or do you know of the registration of that vehicle,
yes.
or are you able to assist in any sort of way?
ULCT 944 is one of our private conveyances, and the Minister Emerson, who you have there, is recorded inside our rolls. What is it that you require?
Well, the problem, as I say, standard practice from my side of things, I know that my vehicle registration is registered with the Motor Insurance Bureau and DVLA, and obviously I have to pay insurance on that vehicle.
Right.
Due to the fact that I've not been able to establish that that's the case with this vehicle, as it stands at the moment, I've sadly had to arrest this male to ascertain his details and find out whether he obviously has legitimate insurance for this vehicle, whether he has a driving licence with the vehicle.
Like you said, obviously this information hasn't been filtered down. We are the secured party creditors of HM government who have or did licence the local police officers to act on their behalf as their private corporation. We are their secured party creditors, and we've been that since February. All of the registration documents are held under non-disclosure. We will obviously provide any legal documents such as driving licenses or insurance on proof of valid claim that that conveyance was being used for commercial activities. So can you tell me what commerce was that man committing?
What commerce? I'll be honest with you, you've lost me a little bit there.
Okay.
In relation to the usage of the vehicle, he was driving down a public highway.
Okay, let me just stop you there.
Oh.
It only becomes a vehicle if it has got DVL plates on there. And what we've actually done is the VIN number is actually what he has the right of use of, and that is what's assigned to the trust. Now, our records here show that yes, he has got an indemnity cover to cover him for any accident or harm, loss or damage that he causes anybody else, unless he's committing commerce, i.e. he's a taxi, or he's for hire or rent, or that it's a bus or a lorry. Is the conveyance that you're calling a vehicle, does it fit any of those descriptions, and is he being paid to be conveying himself in that conveyance?
No.
Okay. So I'm looking at the record here. He has got all of those things that you would require if he was in commerce. And so in order for me to release the information to you guys, you're acting under legislation which is applicable only to commercial vehicles, or legal fictions, companies, corporations, and by us doing what we've done, we're reserving all of the rights of the people from being presumed to be in commerce.
Okay. So that still leaves me in a bit of a predicament though. Because at the chap in his mid-60s that's currently sat in a police cell, because obviously there are certain laws that we need to abide by
There
to be
are.
able to
The law
obviously release
is
him.
the law. Right. Okay. So the law is that it's actually against the law to coerce somebody to commit an act of fraud. Now, what you're actually asking him to do, you want him to identify himself with the documentation that I've got here that's reserved under a non-disclosure, unless he is committing commerce. Now, if he is committing commerce, then I'm more than happy to release this information to you. But as you've just stated, he's not committing commerce. So really, I mean, I know it's a bit of a shock for you guys, but it's you guys that are actually breaking the law by coercing him into committing fraud, because the legal fiction that you want him to use is actually a copyrighted logo belonging to Crown Corporation.
Okay.
Now, if this goes any further, then obviously you'll keep him for 72 hours, obviously, if you can. Not that there's any point in doing so, because it's just going to cost your private corporation that's registered in the company's house as a private corporation with a tax reference number, and we're actually a secured party creditor. So what you're actually doing is a double whammy, because you're trying to get him to claim against himself. Now, you know yourself, if I haven't got the right of use of something and I use it, I'm twocking in the least, aren't I? I'm taking without consent, or it's attempted theft or theft.
Okay.
Now, imagine that your name, that legal fiction, is a copyrighted logo and you haven't got the right of use of it. So we contacted HM Government and the Home Office and said, has anybody got the right of use of a legal fiction in the capitalised form of the given name? And they said no. If you look at the birth certificate, it's got Crown copyright on the bottom of it, and it says not to be used for ID. Now, at the moment, I didn't get your number. What was your name again?
My name?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I want to tell you that.
Yeah,
no, my name is Lee Butterworth.
Lee Butterworth. I mean, it's not. We're trying to help the people of the country, you know, to establish their rights and to get rid of this administrative system that has been professing to be law. Legal isn't lawful if it causes us to break the law. And because, like I said, the Home Office have said that we haven't got a right of use of anything that's Crown copyright, then you actually trying to coerce him into using something that's been copyrighted by the Crown, because that's all you can recognise, in order for you to actually, what you're actually doing is you're prosecuting him for using something that's not his.
Okay.
So,
very interesting. So where do we stand with this chap then? Because unfortunately, like you say, we're not in a position to release him from custody until we can establish whether he has got valid insurance or a valid driving licence and stuff.
He has. I mean, he has. He only needs a driving licence if, like I say, he's in commerce. If he's driving a vehicle. So the words driving, if you look at the Black's Law Dictionary and any law dictionary, it is actually a commercial definition. Vehicle is also a commercial definition. To use a conveyance, on the other hand, is in your private capacity, which is why he's got those number plates on. If he put the DVL plates on there, he would be implying that he was in commerce, and that would be contract with the system that you unfortunately are calling the law, which is actually legal civil code, and it's commercial code. Now, the situation is at the moment, Lee, is that our counterclaim would be against you for false claim, abduction, and coercing somebody to commit fraud, which is 7 years. If you are wearing a uniform and you attempt to force somebody to identify themselves, you're actually guilty or immediately of statutory rape. And this is actually in your police...
Statutory rape?
Statutory rape. You're attempting to rape him of his universal rights by getting him to diminish himself into being and joindering as a non-entity, as a legal fiction.
Right, okay.
So
right, I think I'm going to have to have a chat with my sergeant and my inspector, and we'll try and establish where we need to go with it.
Okay, he is under...
Are you happy to be recontacted if need be?
Of course, I'm the trustee of his trust, and so he's done the right thing giving you the number. And like I say, if it can be proved that he is committing commerce, I'm more than happy to release those documents to you, but I do need proof of claim.
Okay, right, leave that with me if you don't mind. I've obviously got a contact number to be able to give you a call back if need be.
Okay.
And we'll try and see where we need to go.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you for your time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.